This is where it gets into that thinking of, if it is possible that that could be the case, if one day technology can develop to the point where an algorithm could predict and run everything, then the argument becomes we are already living in that. Because if it can at some stage happen, then it must almost by argument already be happening, if that makes sense. Like that's one of the theories, I believe. Like, again, I don't know enough about this stuff to really truly understand what that means, but
that's never stopped you having an opinion before.
No, exactly. And I'm having one now, but I'm just putting the proviso on that I am not an expert.
I mean, it also sort of is based on the idea that there are certain universal truths, you know, like I guess scientists would say, well, you know, there's like, you know, the laws of thermodynamics and stuff, but even they are the amount of knowledge we have to this point.
Right.
Like in the future, physics might change, or they'll discover a new element or things like that. So the idea that there would ever be any kind of like widely agreed upon facts is, I guess, a fool's errand. Like, it will never be that point.
Well,
like,
enough that we would hand over trusted. This is my fear around these things, is that often we treat them as if they are like that. That they do have these sort of godlike powers.
Facts don't care about your feelings.
A fax machine doesn't care about your feelings. And we have a really super smart fax machine. Imagine a fax machine. Now imagine it had the ability to judge people.
Yeah, it's a real judgy fax machine. Bit of a prick, to be honest. He kept this newsagent up all night once.
So, yeah, but the idea being it still depends on who is programming it in the first place, right? So I guess this is like, you know, when it comes to self-driving cars, this is one of the things that they're dealing with, right? Is that if you have an algorithm in the self-driving car, do you program it to protect the person who runs out in front of the car, or to protect the person who is driving the car? Because even then, you're making a decision. Now, what we're then imagining is a world in which an algorithm might be so powerful that it would make a judgment based on, oh, that's a kid that's running out in front of the car, and that kid, like, you know, has a whole life in front of it. Therefore, its life might be more valuable. But the person driving the car has 3 children of their own. So if they like die, it would ruin their life. And then, like, so if you had a computer that was able to make all of those judgments, you know, about the value of everybody's lives in that time and make them in that instant of a second, then we're not living in a world where we have any free choice or free will in the first place, right? But also, you've still got to think who programmed that car.
And what values, like, how does the car judging, like, if it's like if it's some kind of numerical number assigned, it's like, well, if you have kids, they're worth an extra 2 points each. You're worth 8 points. But the kids are worth 2.
How do you know the kid's not going to grow up to be Hitler? That takes off a point,
okay,
right?
Detract 2 points.
You know what I mean? Like, it becomes this what if argument. And you would imagine the car manufacturers, their first priority is going to protect their customer, the person who's bought the car, over the person who hasn't. Yet there would probably be another argument that it does more damage to the car company to run over a kid than it does to, I don't know. Like, I mean, these are some of the ethical problems that technology is already presenting to us, though, I guess. Like, we are there where at least in part those conversations are being had.
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/Tofop.